but every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love.
Hi, this is Justin Colletti of Sonic Scoop. Thanks for joining me for some more MixCon. And today in this masterclass, we have an excellent mixer, engineer, producer by the name of Ronald Prent. In case you're not familiar with him, Ronald has worked across genres with some of the biggest rock and metal bands out there, artists like Rammstein, Manowar, Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, the Scorpions, with major pop artists like Elton John and Tina Turner, and with classical artists like David Garret. Not only does he work on studio albums, but he's made a great name for himself mixing live albums too, and working not only in stereo, but also in surround sound formats. And he'll touch a little bit on that near the end of his presentation as well. So whether you're into rock or pop or metal or classical or live albums or studio albums, I think there's going to be some great insights in this one for you. Like all of the MixCon masterclasses, this one is free to the public thanks to our sponsors, and the sponsors on this one are a great fit. It is pspaudioware. PSP makes some great plugins. They made the original cool plugin back in the day, the vintagewarmer, one of the first must-have plugins in the world of plugins, and they have been innovating up to the current day. They have a tremendous amount of amazing plugins. I, in my mixing days, especially love to use their delays and compressors, and you'll see that Ronald is a big fan of their stuff too. He has a ton of PSP plugins all over this mix, and some of his favorites include their E27 EQ, their reverbs, their spring end plate reverb, which do sound phenomenal, their oldtimer compressor, specifically the multi-band version of it, their Infinistrip, which is super fun if you haven't checked that one out, and of course he uses their aural control for his multi-channel and surround work. But most interestingly, Ronald has actually been secretly collaborating with PSP for the past 5 years to create a new compressor made specifically for surround sound applications called Avocado. Avocado is so new that Ronald couldn't even show you the GUI for it yet. But we are going to get to hear this thing before and after in action on some real tracks, so you can get a sneak peek for what's coming. It is a multi-channel compressor plugin specially developed for surround sound applications based on Ronald's favorite hardware compressors that he has in the studio with him. This is a super punchy analog style compressor for surround sound applications with special features really designed to solve problems for surround sound mixers. This is a special sneak peek of this plugin. The actual final GUI and final release are going to be unveiled very shortly, so keep a lookout for notices about Avocado as it comes out. I'd encourage you to check out all of their tools over at pspaudioware.com. Some truly great stuff. Also, if you want some totally free stuff, you can check out our MixCon Mega Giveaway, where we are giving away more than $10,000 worth of free gear from all of the MixCon sponsors, including PSP. You've got multiple chances to win, so sign up and good luck to you. Last quick note, if you're catching the live premiere of this masterclass, we're going to be having a live Q&A with Ronald himself right after this live premiere concludes. So if you have questions that spring into your mind as you're watching, type them right into the live chat box, and we'll save the best ones for the live Q&A right after this. I hope to see you there. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. Thanks again to Ronald Prent for doing this one with us. Special thanks to the artist, Jeremyoliver, for allowing us to dive under the hood of this track. And big thanks to PSP for helping make this one free to the public. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Ronald, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ronald Prent at Valhalla Studios in upstate New York in Auburn. And this is my home base where I do all my mixing in stereo and immersive. And immersive will come back later. But we're going to start today's workshop that is called Zen and the Art of Balancing, knowing what not to do with stereo. Because that's where it all starts. And immersive is very interesting, but it will come later in the progress. Today I will have a track of a South African artist called Jeremyoliver, a track that I recorded at the Clubhouse in New York with several international musicians, and it's very interesting African music. The way I approach mixes, because that's what we're going to talk about today, is about the balancing of them. And balancing you can do in several ways. With faders, in the box, outside the box, with EQs in and outside the box, and compressors in and outside the box, and effects. I use a combination hybrid. As you can see in the background, I have a large format fixed audio 360 console that allows me to mix in 11.1 discrete in analog domain, where I can use analog inserts for gear and have EQs in the analog domain and bus compressing. And then I go to my recording system where I record what I'm doing in any format and have ways of processing there that I will show later. And of course, in my case, I work with Pro Tools and I have a large array of plugins that I can use to manipulate the audio or not. And that's the big question. Now, balancing a mix starts with listening to it, what actually somebody or yourself recorded, and go through that process of learning the mix or learning the song. Because a lot of attention has been put into recording a song, or if it's like in this case, more organic music with drums, bass, guitar, horn section. So it's very organic music. But there's no difference if you work with just MIDI files or with samples or modern or you do EDM. It all has a character and it all has a meaning. And when you start listening and you take each instrument individually and start working on those, it might end up completely wrong. It could go right too. So before you get to all of that, what I tend to do is I put the music on, I put the session, I'll open it, look at it. Then I take the time to listen to the music. So what we'll do is I'll start the session and then we'll go through that little process to give you a quick idea of how I do that. So I have the session here, and as you can see in the screen, it's got drums in it, it's got some percussion, some spoons, a bass, electric guitar with 2 channels, some delays, some steel drums, a vocal, some backing vocals, a Hammond, a piano, and if I open it up, yeah, there is a large range of horn section. So what I want to do now is just listen to the song, open up the faders quickly and see what it's about.
granted that you're mine. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. Here we go.
So it's very rhythmical track, very African, upbeat. Leans a lot on vocal and guitar. That is the artist itself. He plays the guitar. So when it all gets together, it should work. So what I then do is find what is important in the mix and get the approach for that. It's often not the easiest way, but to have the vocal in there all the time is a nice thing. It doesn't have to be, already on the level, but it just adds something. And in this case, it works with the guitar and everything else rhythm-wise. So I'm gonna kill the brass, although it's nice, and just bring it down back to the basics. Because having the vocal in there all the time reminds you what the song is about, and if you're doing stuff, then it will show if it works against or in favor of the vocal. Okay, so I gotta turn it up a little bit. I got a kick drum. I put a bit of lo-fi on the kick drum just to give it a little punch. And same with the snare. It's a distortion, but it helps getting it out there. So. I could run these quickly to an analog channel of my console. And I could do the same with the snare. Okay, we'll see how much we need of that in a later stage, but it gives a bit of an idea for the rhythm. Now I saw something called a spoon here. Let's see. And what else do we have? Oh, a shaker. Lo-fi for some distortion and less high frequencies, just to get the groove going. And then we want the bass. Oh yeah, what's an interesting thing that I sometimes tend to do, and of course I had prepared it a little bit. With toms, if you wanna have them have a little bit more impact in the low end, instead of EQing them and having to gate them or so, I tend to put an octave below on the toms and just mix it in a little bit. That's without, and that's with. And that most of the time is enough in the mix to give them a bit more weight. Actually, that bass sounds really good with just a little bit of analog EQ in the console. I'll show you that later, and some analog compression. It's just a little bit, but it's enough to settle it and can make it work with the drums. Now what I tend to do is then, I'd like to put in the vocal, and I will put in his guitar pretty fast after that, but just to see how it sits and maybe get a little effect going on him or a little reverb to see if he sits well in the track.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Julie Guidassi. Ah, Julie Kufamba. Come on, come on, come on. I want to see you shake it, shake it.
Let's get into the console, see if that makes helps a little bit.
I'm free, falling into you, and I'm free, falling into you, and I'm free, falling into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. Your love is magnetic, your kiss is electric, and it's clear. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in.
A little de-essing.
I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. And I'm free, falling into you.
But what I really love is what I'll get to in a minute. And that's thanks to our sponsor PSP for this session. They have some really beautiful plugins that I use basically in every mix session, and I'll show you that too. One of my favorite EQs.
You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in.
If you just want to, not change what is being recorded, but emphasize on a little detail of the recording, this is a beautiful plugin. It gives you a bit of drive. Open up the vocal in a really nice way, or give it a really nice bit of body.
always win, I guarantee. I gotta admit it, I am outwitted by your love. You think that after all this time, I take for granted that you're mine. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power.
And because of that, it makes the vocal sit really nice.
I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you.
Now after this, on the analog side of it, through the console, it just goes to the channel, and then it goes to a EL8 distressor. I have the plugin for that, but I prefer to use the hardware version because it gives a nice color. I'm just using a compressor and an equalizer to balance the vocal within the rhythm, to see if that is enough. And again, it's being aware of what you change will make your decisions easier, because it is, again, knowing what not to do. Because you don't really need to do something, you just need to do sometimes a little bit to make it all gel together. And that's why I don't, do it individually. I always run the mix the whole time and listen to what happens if I add something to that.
Come on, I want to see you shake it, shake it. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. Oh. And I'm free, falling into you. Into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. You're like falling into you. Oh. And I'm free, falling into you.
Or we can try and use this one. Yeah, that's nice. Very old-fashioned waves, but very nice.
I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you.
Let's see, we have a guitar. Let's get some sound. A little spring reverb. That's the EMT from PSP. That rhymes. My favorite reverb for drums. It really sounds amazing plugin. I'm a big fan of spring reverbs, and PSP made a beautiful plugin that really comes so close to the original. And it's easier to use than the big box. Let's try that. Let's make a send for that. Really nice. See, it's just to give it a little bit of contour and place, because I have the dry signal too. And I put a little bit of chorus on the second microphone.
You be my queen, you always win, I guarantee. I gotta admit it, I am outwitted by your love. You think that after all this time, I take for granted that you're mine. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. Here we go. Skabba-dabba-dabba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Skabba-dabba-dabba-da-da-da.
Whoa, nice delay.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Julie Guidassi. Ah, Julie Kufamba. Come on, come on, come on. I want to see you shake it, shake it. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you.
I'll try a little experiment and use this on the vocal. Okay. It just needs a little bit.
I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. Your love is magnetic, your kiss is electric, and it's clear. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you.
You see that all these little things that are not really big changes to the original recording, just a bit of sound shaping, scaping, however you want to call it, a bit of room. I might even bring that down more. And the basic drums and bass and his vocal and his guitar should make the song work. And that's what's important in doing the balancing. When you get in the way of the vocal, you're in the wrong place.
Deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. Here we go. Skabba-dabba-dabba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Skabba-dabba-dabba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
I'm going to put a little bit of API compression on the vocal. For now, I'm only going to use the compressor to do a little bit of leveling.
How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. Your love is magnetic, your kiss is electric, and it's clear. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. And I'm free, falling into you. I'm free.
Just change the EQ on the snare a little bit because it's stick out, get a little darker. I'm using all this stuff to change balance, and then I sometimes have to get the volume changed, but in a lot of cases, like I wanted to do with the guitar as well, it's just to give it the proper place instead of EQing it to the absolute perfect sound. I'm assuming that this is the sounds that they wanted for the recording, and I'm just shaping them a little bit so I can get it to groove.
Falling into you. I'm free. Falling into you. And I'm free.
I'll use my favorite EQ. I'll do it for the one that I used the effects on, which has the little chorus and then the spring reverb or PSP.
My gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. Deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. And I'm free, falling into you. To you. I'll be your pawn, you be my queen, you always win, I guarantee. From falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. Here we go. Skabba-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Skabba-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum.
See, then you blend this all together and it becomes one instrument, just by changing slightly the character of a frequency. And that's as much balancing as doing volume controls with faders. And it's still very dynamic because of the way it's been played.
I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. Falling into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic,
See if we add a little bottom to the snare. But as you can hear, when you do the difference, then the snare is light.
You do this to me. I'm free, falling into you.
Just by adding a little bit at 120 and a bit of drive, which is the nice thing about the plugin, and the really musical way of adding frequencies, you balance the snare a bit better in the whole party. Now, if you're worried about little clipping inside the plugin, you can just drop the level a little bit on the output here.
Do this to me, babe. You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. Your love is magnetic, kisses electric, and it's clear. I think you know your power over me.
Getting the groove of the song going with the vocal and the main instruments that he uses. We're gonna start adding the rest. I'll try and do it as easy as understandable as said. I'm just gonna listen to it. I haven't treated any of it. There's a Hammond organ, a piano, and the brass to see how they fit with what we've got now.
Ah, je little famba. Come on, come on, come on. I want to see you shake it, shake it.
Oh, it's a right-up piano. Let's get that through the console. Actually, I liked it better. Yeah. Not going through the console. Put a little compressor on it. Give it some character. Nice. And again, it's just to, give it its own dynamic space.
I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be a willing volunteer. Your love is magnetic, kisses electric, and it's clear. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling. And deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. I'll be your pawn, you be my queen. You always win, I guarantee. I gotta admit it, I am outwitted by your love. You think that after all this time, I take for granted that you're mine. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling. And I can't help myself from falling. And I can't help myself from falling. And deeper in love On guitar, Mr. Jeremy Oliver. Hey, come on. Come on. Tamba Mushu Stereki. Hey.
So I've added the Hammond to the mix also, just as the way it was recorded and arranged. And balanced it by itself, just to see what the color does when I bring it in.
I can't help myself.
And to me, when I listen to it in the rest of everything else, it doesn't need any other coloring and fills in a really nice warm space. Unlike the piano needed a little bit of the impressor, which helps it, you know, come forward a little bit. And this, you know, the Hammond doesn't get in the way of the vocal. It's actually very nice. Sketching vocals, nice. So using a little bit of shaping and you know, small EQs, but targeted at the right areas. A bit of compression, some not. Changing the reverb worked better on the vocal, but it gave me my favorite one to go to this one for the drums, and that put the drums in the right place, and just the tiniest bit of low end on the snare, and everything else is in a happy place. And again, these are all little things like putting an octave under the toms. Instead of EQing them, giving them a bit more weight. Then they don't need compression, they are just sitting really nice. And the bass, I've done analog to the console with analog compression, but then give a little bit of contour so we can hear a bit more of the notes, because it's important in the music. And that's again with the vocal on all the time. And sometimes the vocal disappears and you pick it up again, or you change a little bit of the EQ, or you add a little bit of leveling with the API compressor that's in the channel, because that's the only thing that's on. I don't need the rest, because it sounds okay, it sounds good. And a little bit of presence I do with my favorite EQ. And make these things all work. They all balance also. So you help putting it in the right place so I can balance it in the right place. And again, it comes down to, you can try stuff out, but it's knowing what not to do. It's every time, although it individually might sound nice to do it, it doesn't sound nice in the whole context. So therefore, I saved one of the nicest things in this mix to last, which is the horn section. Now these are the original Blues Brothers horn section with Tom Malone. And they're excellent recorded. I didn't do that, but it was done at the Clubhouse in Rhinebeck here in New York State. And let's see what that does. I have them panned because it's a big group. They play 3 parts, if I quickly see that. But haven't done anything to them because I wanted to see if at all they need something. What you see me do here is I pan the rooms, I pre-pan them already to work in surround. We'll get to that later. I do that because the way I work with the console, I can mix in immersive and stereo at the same time, and I both do discrete mixes through the console. So I'm pre-panning them here, although I'll only listen to them in stereo, they'll come out in the right balance. Now I made it into a folder in Pro Tools, so if I wanted to do something to the whole group, I could do it there, which usually sounds more natural and better than trying to do it on all the individuals, and it saves plugins. But here we go.
Come on, I want to see you shake it, shake it. I'm free, falling into you. Come on, I want to see you shake it, shake it. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict. Come on, I want to see you shake it, shake it. I'm free, falling into you. I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. And I'm free, falling into you. How do you do this to me, babe? You got me tripping, going crazy. I feel like an addict, call me fanatic over you. And for your magic show, my dear, I'll be your willing over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling. I can't help myself from falling and deeper in love with
And you can hear just by, in this case, using the compressor on the group, although it's multi-mono, it still works. And it gives a little bit of presence to the brass, and I can put them nice in a little corner. I'm just gonna put a little bit of room on it.
Know your power over me. I can't help myself from falling in deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. I breathe, falling into you. I breathe, falling into you. I'll be your pawn, you be my queen, you always win, I guarantee. I gotta admit it, I am outwitted by your love. You think that after all this time, I take for granted that you're mine. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in.
And as you just noticed when you were listening, instead of making the vocal louder, I gave it a little bit more at the 17K with the EQ, just to open it up a little bit more. And then it immediately sits right.
Know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. Deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. I breathe, falling into you. I breathe, falling into you. I'll be your pawn, you be my queen, you always win, I guarantee. I gotta admit it. But every moment together, it only gets better like good wine. I think you know your power over me. You make me lose my gravity, and I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. I can't help myself from falling in. Deeper and deeper in love with you. I said deeper and deeper in love with you. Here we go.
This is the result of, doing a quick mix in an hour and listening to your instruments, deciding if you want compression or if you want EQ or if you don't want anything, because the character you hear is so nice that you will have to make it fit into the mix. And when you use EQs or compressors or effects, they are there to change the balance of the instrument so it will fit around the vocal and the rhythm. As you've seen, most of the time I have the vocal on and very early already. But that was done now in stereo. And because the way I work here at Valhalla Studios, I have this large console behind me and it's 64 channels, but it can be less. The important thing is it allows you to do stereo and immersive mixing at the same time. Immersive mixing is one of my bigger things. And it helps me to do that more efficiently. I work with multiple systems. I have Pro Tools as a mix system, which you've been looking at all the time. And that goes either directly or via the console into my recording system, where I record the stereo mix, but I also record the channels that go to the Atmos renderer and the channels that go to the Sony renderer, where I can make an Atmos mix with objects, embeds, and the same goes for Sony. I can make a mix in 360 for headphones and listen to that on headphones while I mix in stereo and while I mix in immersive. And I can also do that for Dolby Atmos. Because I have to be able to deliver all these formats to my clients that nowadays require Atmos and Sony 360 mixes with their original stereo mix. Now let me switch to my other system so you can see it. This is my recording system. You see I have Pro Tools here. I have Dolby Atmos here in a 916 configuration at the moment. And I have Sony 360 here also in a 916 configuration. That's where I start when I do immersive. And then, because you need, as this thing says, multi-channel bus processing, until recently it hasn't been available. And I have been working with PSP for the last 3 to 4 years on a multi-channel bus processor that will help you do your mixes in a similar way that you're used to in stereo. So here I have my stereo inputs and my Dolby inputs, and they all go through PSP Avocado multi-channel bus processor. That is what you've been hearing, and that was also what I do in immersive. Because I can do this all in a setup that allows me to do all these 3 multiple formats, I can go and use a headphone and listen to that in Dolby Atmos and in Sony 360. It makes the complicated mixing in different formats a lot easier. It's still complicated to set up, but in the end, it's a lot of fun. I will make you, as a treat, also a binaural version of the mix that you've just heard in stereo. And then we can listen back to the stereo version and the binaural version. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you at the Q&A session. Thank you again to PSP and Sonic Scoop and Mixcon for having me and allowing me to show you guys the way I approach a mix in multiple formats, starting from stereo.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that mixcon masterclass as much as I did. Thanks again to Ronald Prent for doing this one with us. Thanks again to the artist, Jeremyoliver, for allowing us to dive under the hood of this track. And special thanks to PSP for helping make this one free to the public. We didn't get to see the full GUI for the new Avocado plugin that Ronald has been developing with PSP, but we got to hear the sound of it, and it sounds pretty cool. This is super punchy analog style compression developed specifically for multi-channel surround sound applications. When you see the final features and layout of this thing, I think you're going to understand immediately why it was developed and why this is probably going to be a must-have for a lot of surround sound mixers. So much great wisdom and so many great insights from Ronald today. Let us know in the comments down below, what were your favorites? Or better yet, join us for the live Q&A that's coming up right after this. Quick note, we are having a MixCon mega giveaway going right now where we are giving away more than $10,000 worth of free gear with multiple chances to win. So look for the link to that in the description and in the comments down below, and good luck to you. Or better yet, join us now for the live Q&A. Check out the link for that also in the description and comments. I hope to see you there. Thanks again for joining us. This has been Justin Colletti of Sonic Scoop. I hope to see you in the live Q&A coming up right now.